Lord, man, I've been having the longest week ever, and it's so annoying. And I wish I just didn't have to work in general, because I feel like every time I'm unemployed, I'm like sad that I don't have a job, and then you're always like looking for jobs so that way you don't have to be unemployed for a long time because people still have bills to pay and all that, right? But then as soon as you do get a job, you gotta like start waking up early again. You gotta like do dress code for whatever type of job that is, like whether or not, like if it's a uniform, they want you to go out, buy some black pants and blue pants or slacks, or just business casual outfits. You got to go shopping for a whole new wardrobe before you even have the damn job, spending money you don't have. And then you be working the job, you got to go through the training, the onboarding, and then next thing you know, you have a job. And now you just hate working every day, and you're struggling to wake up and do the same thing over and over again. But you got to pay your bills, you know? So I just hate how it's like working is like a constant cycle of pain. Because I feel like when I was unemployed for like a whole year, like after college or something. I think that's when it was. And I was unemployed for literally the whole year. And I wasn't even like looking for jobs for real. Like I think I just applied to like a couple jobs, and I was like, whatever, like I'll get an email sometime. And then I just continued like living life every day. But at the same time, I feel like that was when I was the most productive, was when I didn't have to like go to work, because then I was like, oh, now I can wake up early on my own accord. Now I can do my errands in the morning. I can work out in the morning because I have extra time. I can take the time and eat a real breakfast instead of like rushing through something and then rushing out the door to work, you know? So it's like when I was unemployed, I was low key kind of happy, you know? Because it's like you're managing your own life. You don't have somebody telling you what to do or whatever. And I feel like this 9 to 5 lifestyle is just a constant cycle, and I just hate working for other people. I don't know. But the way the world is today, it's like you just have to have a job to survive, regardless if it's like working at fast food, working 9 to 5, working like corporate job, like you just have to have a job to pay these bills. And it's kind of crazy because you'll see people, they do videos about like their lifestyle, and they're like, oh, I live in California and I be getting like $500,000 a year, and it's still not enough to pay my bills. And I'm like, what are you spending that money on? You know? I mean, you could start your own company, sure, if you hate working for other people. But I feel like there's a downside to that too, because when you ask like a lot of CEOs and people like entrepreneurs and everything, you ask them about how they're running a business and like how is the process of that. They always seem extremely stressed out because they have to pay their employees, and then you have to like basically manage the business. And obviously, like, you can hire like a management, like people, you can hire an accountant, all that stuff to take care of all that stuff for you. But you can't really do all that until you have the money from the business. But when you're first starting like a company, whatever, from the ground up, and it's literally just yourself, and then you barely have any customers, and it's only your family supporting you, whatever, you don't have enough money for an accountant and all that stuff, right? So you're basically just running all this by yourself. And especially with how social media is, if your business takes off extremely fast, you could go from 0 orders to like 5,000 overnight. It's like if one of your videos gets viral. And then now you're stuck here trying to package all these orders because you don't have enough employees, because it's only you in your garage making some candles or something, right? So, and that obviously depends on like what type of business it is too, because obviously there's like selling products, or people that do like e-commerce and like just like stuff online where you don't necessarily need a huge team. But I feel like either way, you still are in charge of this company, and it's still working in a general sense, right? Like you still gotta wake up early, take care of the company, pay your employees and all that stuff. um that could be stressful for some people too, because some people aren't built for that lifestyle. Because a lot of people say like, oh, I hate my 9 to 5, like let me just invent something, let me start a company, let me start selling something, right? And then you don't realize how stressful it is. And then next thing you know, you're stressed out by this business and you're losing money because you put all this money into creating the business. And then next thing you know, the business fails, and then you just lost all that money. You lost the loans, you got to do, and then turns out you would have just been happier staying at your 9 to 5. But obviously, like, you do have to take that risk anyways to try and work for yourself and all that stuff. So that's understandable. And I did low key try to do that because I think when I started YouTube like 10 years ago at this point, I tried to sell like little lip glosses, like, like the little tubes of lip gloss. I like made it myself. I made it with the color and the flavor and the scent, and I mixed it in there, squeezed it in a tube. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to like, pay some influencers to like, review my product and post with it and whatever. So, but in hindsight, it was a lot because you have to make the product, but you also have to find ways to sell it, which was like low key kind of hard because I'm starting from the ground up. I didn't know what to do. I don't have anybody helping me, giving me advice, blah blah blah, right? So that was kind of hard, and I just ended up quitting that stuff, and then I basically just wasted money on all that material if I didn't sell anything. Um, yeah, it depends, like, because you want to do what makes you happy, right? But at the same time, money is what makes the world go round. And I know some people who are like millionaires, billionaires, they aren't necessarily happy, even though they can buy literally anything they want. But I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't necessarily start a business until I'm like well, like just good in my other job or in other areas of life, I guess. So, because I already know, like, if I'm already stressed out by my 9 to 5, and then I decide, like, oh, let me make a business, let me do this, and then I start, like, doing other stuff on the side, like, when I get home from work, you essentially don't have time to rest your body, rest your mind. Thank you. Um, but yeah, it's just hard to do both at the same time because there's not enough hours in a day, right? Like we all got the same 24 hours in a day. And it's just really hard to power through work, and then you got to come home, do more work, and then you just sleep, and then you're just doing a constant cycle of work, right? And then you got to like add in like relaxation to the work, because I feel like you need a decent balance of rest. That way, when you're resting your mind, you can come up with ideas and like just brainstorm or like think about what you're going to do next with your business or whatever. So sometimes it's also better to just relax and do nothing, get away for a weekend, just get away from the business and or whatever. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't necessarily have the right mindset to own my own business, but at the same time, I don't have the mindset to work a 9 to 5 because I don't want to be like a slave to the government, just like working for minimum wage or like working for somebody else, whatever. Like I want to be able to wake up early on my own time and do whatever I want during the day. Because I already hate the schedule of working 9 to 5, and then you gotta like go to the bank, but you work 9 to 5, but the bank closes at 5 and they open at like 9, right? It just doesn't make sense. And then now you're required to take a day off of work just to go to the bank, and that's why I think it's stupid. So I would rather have a job where I can just have a day off during the week, or just like have the whole week free. And I know there are jobs like that out there where you only work weekends or you work like only mornings or only afternoon, but realistically, if you only work those certain periods of time, it's hard to pay bills like that if it's not full-time work. Why do you speak English so fluently? I don't know. Why do you speak English fluently? Um, but yeah, I don't know. I could see myself starting my own business, but I don't want to like necessarily start it. I feel like I would be the type to where I would buy a business and kind of like take over what they already have, change a few things, whatever, so that way I don't have to necessarily build from the ground up. Like I would rather take over a company that's already successful. Like, imagine I'm a millionaire. I'm not gonna just create something and start selling it. I would rather just buy a whole bunch of smaller companies, and that way it's like my name is on it, on the contract of it. Like, people don't necessarily know that that's my store, that I own these products, but my name is on the contract. So I'm getting like, 50% of the sales. I feel like I could see myself doing something like that and investing in it like long term, but not necessarily like just starting something out of nowhere. Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder for America because this used to be like the what the fuck did they call it? Like land of the free, or like, just for opportunities and whatever. Everyone used to come to America, whatever. But now, like, this, the way this country is going, it's like, what are we doing? Right? Like, there's no hope for us with the current president. It's like, what are we doing? So we just kind of look stupid to every other country out there. And I feel like other countries are also like ahead of us too, like you said, in terms of like healthcare, or like even going to war, or like, just like lower taxes or no taxes and more freedom. I don't know. So I feel like other countries definitely have it better, because if you're not paying for like all your doctor's visits, or you're not paying for college, then yes, it's 10 times easier to use that $20,000 that you would have used for college or whatever, so that way you could like invest it in yourself, invest in your company, you know. um but yeah, because I remember like one time I was in high school, we had like this girl, she was a foreign exchange student from Germany, and she was there for like the whole senior year, and then it came time to like choose like colleges, and people were talking about college, and she was like, oh, like y'all have to pay for college, because I was telling her that I have to take loans out, and going to this specific college was like $10,000 a year, $20,000 a year for some people. She's like, what, y'all pay for college here? I'm like, you don't? What do you mean? Right? So it's kind of like interesting to see how differently other parts of the world run it. And obviously, like, they're happier if they don't have to pay all this money for college, they don't have to pay for healthcare or whatever. They could use that money to invest in their businesses, in their health, in their grandkids, like stuff like that. um yeah, college here will probably never be free because they love taking our money for no reason. um but yeah, people do work overtime, but sometimes it depends like where you work, because like regular full-time shift is 40 hours a week, like how you guys do. But if you're working like longer than that, like if they ask you to stay an extra hour or whatever, basically, well, for my job, they add up those hours you work. So if you work an extra hour every day, that's like 5 hours a week, so you pretty much get 5 hours of time and a half. So if I regularly get paid like, $10, then my overtime would be $15 times those 5 hours. So, or like sometimes we get paid for extra holidays too, but some jobs don't do that. Like the jobs who pay minimum wage, or just like terrible jobs in general, they're not giving you extra money just for working. Like, they'll give you like the extra $10, but they're not giving you like the extra $15, you know, because time and a half is like them being nice, because it's like, oh, like, you took the time out of your day, you could have went home, but we asked you to stay and you stayed, you know. So it's like we get that extra $5, which adds up over time if you keep staying an extra hour every day, and now you're working like 45 hours a week instead of 40, right? And the thing is that some jobs don't offer like paid time off. Like, because me, I just started working at this current job that I have, and I don't get paid time off unless I've worked here for like a year, I think. So if I've only been working here like less than 6 months, and I request a day off of work, they're like, yeah, you can not come to work that day, and then I can, take that day to run my errands or do whatever I want, but I'm not getting paid for that, right? So when I'm out running my errands, I'm using my money and I'm not getting paid. But other jobs, you get paid if you have paid days off. But I'm not. I haven't worked a year there, you know. So it sucks, because it's like you're taking a day off to sacrifice all this your time, right? Like you take off time from work just to run your basic errands or like do basic things that you can't do while you're at work, like go to the doctor or whatever, right? And then you don't even get paid for it just because you just started working at this company. You haven't proved your loyalty yet, you know? So it just sucks that they expect you to work a year somewhere, because imagine if you don't like the job or you had to quit because of certain reasons or whatever. Um, so people get mad at that they now have to take a day off and you don't get paid for it, and it sucks. Felix from Stray Kids, I have no idea what that is. Is that K-pop? I'm guessing by your profile picture. Maybe. I don't listen to K-pop either. I like Cat's Eye, the new global girl group. That's like, they're not K-pop, but I like that group because it's like a diverse group of people. Yeah, I don't know how much paid days we get because, like I said, I haven't worked here for a whole year. Um, but it seems like it's less than that. I don't know. I know some jobs give like a whole like 30 days off. Some jobs give like literally like 20 days off. I don't know. But for me, I feel like that's not enough. Because realistically, I want to take off like a day every month just to have a rest day. And I know usually people take off on Fridays, but I like taking off on Mondays. It just makes my week feel shorter. I don't know. I don't know why. Love from Nigeria. I forget how much percent Nigerian I am. Like 20%. I don't know. But yeah, it just sucks. Like, cause we're barely getting paid enough as it is. Like people get paid minimum wage to work fast food, which is understandable, right? Because fast food doesn't necessarily like take a lot of talent to like just work at McDonald's and flip burgers or whatever, make French fries. It doesn't take a lot of talent to do that. So of course people are like, oh, they should only get paid $10, like, or whatever minimum wage is for that state. Um, but it's hard because people don't realize that America literally runs on fast food. Like half the country is obese because of fast food, right? But if there was literally no fast food workers, if nobody was working at McDonald's, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, all these places, then it's like y'all wouldn't be getting food, you know? And that's like the same way how in America they have like tipping culture. So you're supposed to like tip after you eat at a restaurant, and you're supposed to tip like, 15-20%, right? Because that's how the waitresses get their money. And a lot of people are like, oh, we shouldn't have to tip, but they don't realize that if they don't have to tip, that money is going to come from somewhere, right? And they keep saying that the managers should pay the waitresses a livable wage, but in reality, that's not going to happen. That would never happen. If anything, they're just going to put the tip inside of the actual bill. So now instead of paying $50 for dinner, now you're paying $70 for dinner. And then that extra 20 is going to go to the waitress. So either way, you're going to have to pay tips somehow. So, and I think that's how they do it in Europe too. Like that tip is included in the bill already. But no, the way they do things a lot is just unfair. Yes, I'm Nigerian. Yay! Like, share, subscribe. But yeah, America isn't really like necessarily a dream country anymore. Because now I'm wondering, I'm like, damn, like, do I really need? I should move to Europe, you know. And I feel like I haven't really said that in my lifetime because Europe is not really like extremely diverse or whatever. Um, no, I'm saying like $70 for a restaurant. I'm not just talking about like fast food, but now I'm thinking like, damn, like should I move to Europe? What the fuck? Um, yeah, exactly. Like they get paid hourly, but I think what's it called? Waitresses here in some states they get paid like $2 an hour, which is obviously ridiculous. It's literally no money at all, right? So they're paid $2 an hour from the company, but then they're making all this money from tips. So if you're making like 20, 40, 60, like all these tips per hour, you're technically getting paid like $70 an hour. So the government is like, okay, that adds up. But in reality, it should be like the $70 in tips plus like the extra $15, regular wage. But they probably think that would be too much just for a waitress who only just brings you food. But in reality, like, if we didn't have waitresses, nobody would bring us the food. If we didn't have cooks, we wouldn't have restaurants, you know? So I feel like the government doesn't realize that these little places that are getting paid minimum wage, they don't really take care of the little people. You know, the people who run the businesses and all that, get the work done, and they pick the crops from the ground, they pull the vegetables and the fruits from the trees, you know? So it's like you don't realize that the whole world runs on the little people, right? But then imagine one day the little people just give up and quit. All the farmers just don't want to pick the damn crops anymore. What are you going to do, right? We would starve because all the food starts from the ground. Yeah, that's the thing. So it's like very conservative and not diverse is what I'm saying. So like that's why I don't know if I would go to Europe specifically. Another thing, I would go to like Africa, like South Africa or whatever. Um, Learn my roots and the history and shit, or like even like South America, you know, because I already partially know Spanish, right? So just like literally anywhere except for America. I wouldn't go to Australia because they have giant bugs there. I wouldn't go to like China, Japan, anywhere that speaks like any Asian country. I couldn't do that because I don't really like Asian food like that. Like I'm not a sushi person. I don't like, I don't know, the only Asian type of food I like is literally chicken and broccoli, fried rice, white rice. Like I'm a basic person. I don't, all those textures they have over there, I can't do it. Um, but I do like a lot of Hispanic food. I would say I like more Hispanic food over Asian food. Asian food has a lot of different things. Um, but yeah, I would definitely literally move to some other country. And obviously Europe is like the top contender if they have free college, free healthcare, all that stuff. Then you gotta worry about getting like dual citizenship and everything. It's just a lot if you decide to move somewhere else. So that's why people come to America, because America is like the main place. Like everybody wants to come here, start a new life, start a new job. So it's just easier for people to come here, have your kids here. That way your kid is like an American citizen, and then you just build a life here, right? But then you got this nonsense about, ICE kidnapping people, taking them, sending them back to their country, right? Even though these people have been here for the past 30, 40 years just living, and they just don't happen to have a green card. Like, damn, like you kicking people out of a country because they don't have a piece of paper? Like, really? Whole time this country was built on slaves? It's just weird, the lifetime that we're living in. And the world definitely would have been better if Kamala won the damn election. I don't know. Like, some people don't like her just because she's a woman or because she's black or whatever the case may be. But I feel like we've just had Trump for too long. And even like other countries are laughing at us. And it's just embarrassing. So I've heard, like, even when I talk to people, I hear like a lot of people are saying that they do plan on moving to, like, just out of the US in general. And I've seen people say that they want to buy land on different islands as well, because they're saying that they don't want to even move to like Europe or anything. They want to just get like a house on an island, because obviously like islands are kind of like, I don't want to say they're behind like socially, economically, or whatever, but they're just, I don't know, money is different there, I guess. So a lot of people have been looking into just moving to an island in general instead of like actual Europe or whatever. Because at least island life, you can enjoy it there. And then most of them speak English somewhat, so it's easier, I guess, rather than moving to Europe where they speak, Spanish, French, German, Italian, all that stuff. Because, Americans are lazy and they don't want to like educate themselves on other countries and learn new languages. So it's just easier to move to somewhere that already speaks English. They already have the same currency and all that stuff. Um, so I don't know, because my family is initially from Barbados, which is like a tiny island, and then my dad's family is from like Panama or whatever. So there's two islands, and it would be cool if I could get land in those places where my ancestors grew up. Like that would be cool, right? Yes. Is that the Panamanian flag? Cool. Yeah. But that's the thing. I speak English and I learned Spanish in high school. We were required to learn a language in high school, but the only languages they offer is Spanish, French, German, and that's it. Spanish, French, German, because they're like the main three languages, I guess. And then once you get to college, they offer like, Japanese, Chinese. I remember this one girl, she failed that class because it's really hard to learn, because now you're going from like the letters to the Japanese symbols, the characters, right? Um, but yeah, Barbados is a cool island, but it's really like, it was a humbling experience going there, because sometimes you don't have Wi-Fi and it's just a tiny little island, and I just be thinking like, damn, these people have been living on this island their whole lives. So it's just crazy to think about, but I definitely would want to get land there just to have like a house there in case of like a backup plan, like we gotta flee the country because of a bomb threat or something. But that's what I would do. Just pick an island rather than like some other country. But, it's starting to rain now. Yeah, that too. Crazy things. I'm just tired. But yeah, that was the end of this live. I'm gonna go live maybe tomorrow, same time, because I need to keep going live, because it seems like my YouTube crowd is more like entertained than my TikTok crowd, because TikTok is just a lot of kids on there. You can't really have like grown people conversation. So I guess I will be back tomorrow. Bye. Thank you.